If you hear nothing in Siberia, it's not peace. It's a warning. Winter doesn't arrive here like a season. It arrives like a takeover. Snow pours down until the world becomes one endless sheet of white. Rivers freeze into silence. Forests stop breathing, and the horizon stretches so far it makes you feel small, like you don't belong. But life doesn't end in Siberia. It becomes sharper, harder, more disciplined. Because this place is enormous, one of the largest wild regions on Earth, made of many worlds stacked together. Taiga forests that feel infinite. Open steppe where wind has nowhere to break. Tundra where the ground is locked and unforgiving. Mountains that cut the sky into jagged edges. And the far northern sea turning to ice. It's not one ecosystem. It's a kingdom of extremes, and every corner demands a price. Before we go deeper, tell me where you're watching from, city or country. Drop it in the comments. And one more thing, if you had to choose, which predator would you least want to meet out here? Now, watch what winter does to life. At first, Siberia looks empty in winter, like a blank page. But that's the trick. The wilderness here isn't empty. It's quiet. Everything moves with caution. Everything listens. And every creature is doing the same math. How much energy do I spend to stay alive? Because in Siberia, winter is hunger. The wind is the first enemy. It slices across open snow and steals heat from skin, fur, and feathers. It finds gaps in coats. It creeps into lungs. It dries eyes until they water and sting. Then comes the second enemy, distance. In a place this large, you don't just go find food. You travel for it. You cross flats and ridges. You move through drifts that hide holes and hard crust that snaps underfoot like glass. And finally, the third enemy, time. Because winter lasts. Not for days, not for weeks, but for months. And every day is a decision. Out on the open snow, a dark line appears in the distance. At first it looks like drifting shadow. Then it separates into bodies. A herd. Caribou. Reindeer. Blizzard warriors. They are built for cold that would stop most mammals in minutes. Their coats are dense and insulating, trapping warmth close to the body. Their frames carry mass that isn't for display, it's for survival. Because in winter, weight can mean warmth, and warmth can mean time. But even the best coat is not enough. Cold drains energy even when you stand still. Your body burns fuel just to keep your blood warm, just to keep your muscles ready, just to keep your mind awake. So the caribou must eat. And winter buries food like a secret. Before the season reaches its worst, herds begin to move. Sometimes traveling huge distances across a landscape that doesn't forgive mistakes. They migrate not because they want to, but because staying too far north for too long can become a death sentence. They travel in numbers because unity is a strategy. One animal alone is vulnerable. A herd is a moving fortress. When they reach wintering grounds, the herd tightens. Calves press inward. Adults form the outer ring. Not a perfect circle, but a living pattern, a habit born from centuries of survival. And winter changes their appearance too. Coats lighten, edges soften. Camouflage becomes an invisible shield in a world that's turned pale. But food is still buried. So the herd steps out again into the open, and the work begins. Hooves scrape. Snow breaks and falls away in powdery waves. They dig through crusted layers, searching for moss, grass, lichen, small meals that keep a large body alive. It looks simple until you realize what it costs. Each dig is effort. Each effort is heat lost. Each heat lost must be replaced by more food. So the caribou cannot waste motion. That's why they rely on something almost miraculous. Smell. Where we see only white, caribou detect hidden nutrition. A faint patch under the surface. A buried pocket of lichen. A thin line of plant life protected by terrain. They don't dig randomly. They dig with purpose. And that same sense does something else. It detects danger, because while the herd searches for food, predators search for the herd. A large caribou is not just a meal, it's a season's worth of survival for the right hunter. Enough meat to feed predators through the hardest weeks. Enough energy to buy time until spring returns, so the herd never truly relaxes. Eyes scanning, ears listening, bodies tense in a way that never fully fades. In Siberia, danger doesn't announce itself with noise. It arrives quietly. It arrives with a scent on the wind. It arrives as pressure in the silence. A few caribou lift their heads at once, not because they see something, because they feel something. The herd shifts, like a tide turning. Now, imagine the world from their perspective. You're surrounded by white. The sky is white. The ground is white. Your breath is a cloud. Every sound is swallowed by snow. You don't see danger from far away. You sense it, a wrong stillness, a gap in the forest line, a shadow that doesn't match the wind. When threat draws near, the herd moves. Fast. Caribou can run with startling speed. Long legs, powerful lungs, and a body trained to move through hardship. On good ground, they can outrun many dangers. But Siberia doesn't promise good ground. Deep snow can trap legs. A drift can collapse. A depression can steal momentum. And one animal stumbling can create a ripple of panic that spreads across the herd. That's when winter becomes cruel, because the herd can't always wait. If you fall behind, you become visible. If you become visible, you become chosen. And sometimes escape fails. Then the caribou fights. Antlers aren't decoration here. They are weapons sharp, heavy, and capable of turning the right predator away. One strike can buy seconds. Seconds can save a calf. Seconds can let the herd regroup. Here's a scene Siberia repeats every winter. A young caribou moves near the edge of the herd, too far from the center. It pauses, digging, focused on food. Its head stays down too long. Then a sound, barely a sound, something like snow settling. The young caribou lifts its head. The herd stiffens. A few bodies rotate at once, forming a wall. Nothing is visible, but the air feels wrong. The herd starts to move. At first, a walk, then faster. Then sudden acceleration, legs punching through powder, bodies bobbing like waves. The young caribou hesitates. That hesitation is all winter needs. The herd keeps moving. The young caribou runs to catch up. Snow grabs its legs. It stumbles. It recovers. It stumbles again. And behind it now, the danger becomes real. A shadow breaks the line of trees. Then another. Then another. The herd surges faster. The young caribou pushes harder. For a few seconds, it's only breath and snow and pounding hearts. Then the herd crests a shallow ridge, and the wind hits hard, a wall of cold air, blowing powder sideways like smoke. Visibility drops. The world becomes a storm of white, and storms are both curse and salvation. A storm can kill you, but it can also hide you. The herd stays tight, moving as one body. The young caribou fights to stay inside the moving mass, where the wind is slightly weaker, where bodies break the blast. A predator struggles in this too. Snow hides footing. Wind masks scent, and a misstep in deep powder can cost a hunter precious energy. The herd survives not because it is stronger, but because it is together. But winter is long, and Siberia is relentless. Not every caribou makes it. A moment too slow, a body too tired, a misjudged drift, a weak leg, a storm that hits at the wrong time. And when one animal falls behind, there is no ceremony. Only breath turning to fog, only snow swallowing sound. Only the herd moving on, because the herd must live. But Siberia does not waste what it takes. The cold preserves. It holds bodies in place like frozen time. And scavengers arrive, foxes, ravens, and hunters of the sky. Because in this land, death is not the end of the story. It's a handoff, a transfer of energy from one life to another. Above the snow, a shadow circles patient, precise, built for winter's economy. The Golden Eagle. If you're enjoying this cinematic journey, hit like. It helps more people find these wildlife stories. And subscribe with notifications on, because the next frontier is always waiting. The Golden Eagle doesn't flee the Siberian winter. It stays. Not because it's fearless, but because it is adapted to the cost of cold. Its feathers are layered like armor, trapping warmth and shedding snow. Its body is compact and powerful. Its talons are curved hooks designed for certainty. And its beak is built for tearing. But the eagle's greatest weapon is not strength. It's vision. From high above the frozen land, the eagle sees what most creatures never notice. The subtle twitch of movement that doesn't match the stillness. In warmer seasons, the sky is generous. Thermals lift the eagle upward. Flights can stretch long. Prey is abundant enough to allow mistakes. In winter, the sky becomes expensive. Every wing beat costs energy. Every long flight is a gamble. And Siberia doesn't forgive wasted effort. So the eagle becomes disciplined. It circles slowly, using the thinnest currents of air. It watches. It waits. Because in winter, mistakes are currency. A hare steps too far from cover. A rabbit pauses in the open. A small rodent crosses a white gap between shadows. And the eagle sees it all. Then the eagle drops. Not like a bird, like a falling stone, a dive that turns gravity into a weapon. Wind screams past feathers. Talons open at the final instant. Contact is violent and precise. Talons lock. Pressure crushes. And the struggle ends quickly, because winter does not allow long fights. But hunting is only half the challenge. Feeding is the other half, because a kill is never private in Siberia. Ravens arrive like a storm, bold, loud, relentless. They land close, hopping, testing boundaries, screaming as if volume could steal ownership. Foxes may appear at the edges, watching with a thief's patience. Other scavengers may drift in, drawn by sound and scent. So the eagle eats fast. It tears what it can. It swallows. what it must. And when the crowd grows too confident, it grabs what it can carry and lifts away. Because even for royalty, injury is unacceptable. A damaged wing is not just pain, it is a sentence. So the eagle survives through timing, not pride. Now, here's the part most people don't think about. In winter, the eagle doesn't just hunt prey, it hunts opportunity. Because winter preserves what it takes. A carcass can remain available longer in cold air. Not forever, nothing lasts forever, but long enough to matter. That means the landscape becomes a hidden pantry. A deer that slipped and fell. A caribou that collapsed from exhaustion. A boar that lost a fight. To the eagle, these are not tragedies. They're survival. But even scavenging has a price. Landing is dangerous. Feeding is dangerous. Every moment on the ground is a moment the eagle is not in control. So the eagle approaches carefully. It circles low, scanning for movement. It watches tree lines for foxes. It listens for ravens, because ravens often arrive first, and ravens often mean a carcass exists. Then, when it chooses, it drops. Not aggressively, not loudly. It lands with precision, wings half open, balancing in the wind. It feeds quickly, always lifting its head between bites to scan the horizon. Because in Siberia, no meal is truly safe. A wolverine could appear, fearless and hungry. A fox might make a bold move. And sometimes, wolves may wander through later, drawn by the same scent. So the eagle takes what it can and leaves. This is winter's economy. Spend less. Waste nothing. Survive. Here's a question for you. Would you rather survive Siberia as a predator of the sky or the ground? Comment sky or ground. And as winter continues, the eagle becomes a symbol of a larger truth. From above, Siberia looks peaceful, clean, almost untouched. But that peace is an illusion. Up close, the snow is filled with stories. Track crossings, chase lines, sudden stops, and the silence after struggle. A map of hunger written in white. And beyond the forest, winter stretches north, over coastlines, over open water, until the sea itself begins to freeze. The world becomes ice plates and black water seams. A shifting puzzle with no guarantees. And in that frontier, a giant rises from the dark. The walrus. If you're still here, you're exactly the audience this channel is made for. Like the video and subscribe because we make long-form documentaries built for immersion. In the far north, Siberia becomes a different planet. The ocean turns to ice-drifting plates, cracking seams, pressure ridges, and open leads of dark water. A world that is never fully stable. Even the sound changes here. Ice pops like distant gunfire. Wind skates across the surface. And the sea breathes through openings that appear and vanish overnight. In that cold frontier, the walrus emerges. Massive, insulated, built like a living fortress. A thick layer of blubber holds heat where the ocean tries to steal it. Skin like weathered armor, and tusks, long, pale, powerful tools as much as weapons. Because tusks do more than intimidate. They hook into ice to help a heavy body rise out of freezing water. They anchor the walrus on slippery platforms. They dig into seabed mud. They pry food loose from the Arctic floor. Every day, walruses dive for clams and invertebrates hidden under sand and silt. They don't chase prey like dolphins. They search. Sensitive whiskers sweep the seabed like fingertips, reading texture and movement. When they find a cluster, they crush shells and swallow quickly. Efficiency matters because every dive costs oxygen. Every dive costs heat. Cold water collects debt from every body that enters it. Then the walrus rises onto ice. Because ice is rest. Ice is relief from constant swimming. Ice is the platform that makes Arctic life possible. Walruses gather together, bodies clustered for warmth. Calves press close. Adults form a loose barrier. They look peaceful until the ice shifts. A storm rolls in low, flattening the horizon. Wind builds, pushing snow across ice like fog. The temperature drops, and the air feels sharp enough to cut. Under pressure, ice groans. Cracks widen. A lead opens black water where there was once solid ground. Now the herd must decide. Stay and risk being separated by moving ice. Or move and spend energy they can't afford to waste. This is the Arctic frontier. A chessboard made of ice. And every move costs energy. Energy is everything. A walrus that spends too much energy searching for stable ice has less energy to dive for food. A walrus that spends too much energy diving has less energy to travel. A walrus that spends too much energy traveling has less energy to protect a calf. And a calf is the future. In the Arctic, life continues, even in winter. Bonding, mating, long pregnancies. Nature doesn't pause because it's inconvenient. It just becomes harder. In some regions and seasons, ocean predators may patrol these edges too, especially when conditions create opportunity. But even when predators aren't present, the ice itself is always a risk. That uncertainty is the true law of the North. So walruses do the only thing that works. They stay together. They stay alert. They move toward stability when they can. Now you tell me, who has the advantage in this frozen world? Walruses on the ice or orcas in the water? Comment walrus or orca and say why. Because this is not just a battle of predators. It's a battle of terrain. The walrus is powerful on ice, but ice is not permanent. The ocean is dangerous, but the ocean is always there, and winter keeps rewriting the map. Far to the south, another predator doesn't need ice or ocean. It needs silence. It needs shadows. The Amur taiga. Deep in the taiga, the Amur taiga moves like quiet power. One of the largest wild cats on Earth. Shaped by cold, built for winter, designed for patience. Its coat thickens against the season, forming insulation that holds heat close. In winter light, its colors appear paler, stripes less bold, helping it dissolve into a forest that has turned nearly monochrome. And despite its size, it can move with astonishing silence. Because in the taiga, noise is failure. The taiga lives alone. No pack, no backup. It patrols long territory lines, marking trees, leaving scent, writing borders in scratch marks and invisible messages. But borders aren't pride here. Borders are food. Winter hunting is expensive. Deep snow punishes long chases. Ice makes footing uncertain. A wasted sprint burns calories that cannot be casually replaced. So the taiga leans into its greatest skill, ambush. It reads the forest by scent and track. A hair snagged on bark, a faint scrape in the snow, the direction of wind, the subtle rhythm of prey movement. Then it waits. Not minutes, sometimes hours. And the forest around it does what it always does in winter. It stays quiet. A branch creaks. A distant raven calls once, then stops. Powder snow falls from a pine like dust. The tiger doesn't move, because the tiger doesn't want to chase. It wants one moment where the prey can't react fast enough. Somewhere ahead, prey moves carefully, slowly searching for its own food. A deer-like silhouette near a stand of trees. A boar pushing through brush, confident in its toughness. The tiger watches, measuring distance and angles the way a sniper measures a shot. Then, in a single instant, it becomes speed. A short sprint, a heavy collision, a bite aimed at the neck, fast, final, but a kill is an announcement. The forest remembers the smell. Wolves may drift in later, drawn by scent and curiosity. A bear may appear, hungry and confident. Another tiger might cross a boundary line. So the tiger eats with awareness. It pauses often. It listens. It looks into trees that seem empty but never truly are. Even the king must watch the shadows, and winter keeps testing it. A storm could bury tracks, hiding its approach, but also hiding danger. A cold snap could make water scarce and force prey into new paths. A day of failed hunting could mean the next hunt must be perfect, because solitary predators don't get second chances. And then, slowly the world shifts. Spring. Snow softens. Ice loosens. Rivers begin to move again. The forest exhales. Green returns first in small patches, then spreads like a new language. Birdsong returns. Migratory wings fill the sky. Herbivores move more often, less constrained by deep snow. And predators feel opportunity in the air. For the tiger, spring can mean abundance, more movement, more prey visibility, more options. But it can also mean tension, as territories overlap and animals travel differently. On the edge where forest meets steppe, another spring story unfolds. At dawn, in open places called leks, black grouse gather. Males arrive early like performers claiming a stage. They fan their tails. They flare bright crests above their eyes. They produce deep calls that roll across open land like strange drums. It is ritual, competition, proof of health, a celebration of spring in a land where spring is never guaranteed. Females watch, choose, then leave. The female builds a nest hidden in vegetation. She lays eggs. She incubates. And she raises the chicks alone. Because in Siberia, even love can be ruthless. Predators never stop watching, so the chicks must learn quickly. They must grow quickly. They must fly soon, because Siberia is generous only for a short time, and as spring stretches towards summer, the forest answers with a new sound. Not a single voice. A chorus. Howls at dawn. Howls at dusk. Wolves. If you want more stories like this, deep forests, far north, real wilderness, subscribe and turn on notifications. And share this video with someone who loves nature documentaries. It helps this channel grow. Wolves do not survive Siberia by luck. They survive by coordination. A pack moves like one organism, reading scent trails like maps, spacing out without speaking, closing distance with strategy instead of pure speed. They hunt when the light is low, dawn and dusk, when the forest is full of shadow and uncertainty. They listen for weakness, a limp, a separation from the group, a hesitation. They target prey worth the effort. Sometimes they surround, pressuring from multiple angles, forcing prey to turn, forcing a mistake. Sometimes they chase with endurance, rotating positions until exhaustion becomes a trap. It's brutal. It's efficient. And in Siberia, it's necessary. But it's never clean. A kick can break ribs. A tusk can open a wound. A fall on ice can end a season. So wolves choose battles like generals, not for glory, for survival. And when the pack succeeds, hierarchy becomes visible. Who eats first, who waits, who guards. Because kills aren't private in Siberia. They attract attention. Scavengers arrive. Bears might appear. And sometimes the tiger itself, silent, massive, and confident. In those moments, wolves face a truth that defines this land. Even predators can lose ground. Still, Siberia is larger than forest and steppe. The land rises into mountains, thin air, steep rock, brutal weather. And up there, another predator lives alone, the snow leopard, a ghost of stone and wind. Its coat blends into rock and shadow, its paws spread wide for snow. Its long tail balances it across cliffs that punish mistakes. Prey is scarce in the mountains, so the snow leopard survives through patience and precision. It watches from above. It approaches slowly. Then it launches a leap across rock and air, a collision of muscle and momentum, a bite that ends the struggle. But the mountains demand perfection. Failure wastes energy. A chase risks a fall. And in thin air, energy is expensive. Across Siberia, the pattern repeats. Cold, distance, scarcity, risk. For thousands of years, these forces shaped masters of survival. Caribou enduring blizzards, eagles ruling winter sky, walruses living on shifting ice, wolves hunting as one mind, tigers moving through snow like silent power, and snow leopards haunting the high slopes. But today, many ecosystems face growing pressure from rapid environmental change, shifts in ice, snow, and seasonal timing that can make survival less predictable. And that's why these stories matter. Because understanding the wild is the first step toward protecting it. Before you go, vote in the comments. Which predator impressed you the most? Golden eagle, walrus, wolfpack, snow leopard, or Amur tiger? Tell me your pick and one reason. I'll heart the strongest answers. If this documentary took you somewhere new, hit like, subscribe for more journeys into nature's most extreme frontiers. And share this with someone who loves wildlife, because the more people understand the wild, the more reason we have to protect it. See you in the next one.